Disney still navigating theatrical releases. Millie Bobby Brown and the cast of Enola Holmes are returning for a sequel. And I've got some thoughts on the dramatic third episode of The Bad Batch. All that and the latest in everything cool today in The Rundown. Hey, welcome to my basement studio for the Electric Playground. My name is Victor Lucas, and we've got a lot of fun to dig into today. Today's episode of The Rundown is dedicated to NES Tube 44, who can't wait to watch the interview that I'm doing with the two Commander Shepherds, Mark Meer and Jennifer Hale, and also is very happy that I'm still just as passionate about video games as I've always been, and ends it with Play Forever. And of course, I'm always going to be passionate about video games. Are you kidding me? It's the best entertainment that humans have ever created. All right, let's get started with your rundown. Traditional linear entertainment is still lots of fun, and Disney has been very busy navigating the tricky waters of theatrical releases out there. They just announced that The Jungle Cruise, starring The Rock and Emily Blunt, is going to be coming out on July 30th, both in theaters and also on Disney Plus as a premium video on demand opportunity for people out there, so they can pay extra on top of their Disney Plus subscription, and they can rent it for the weekend and watch it with their families at home on their big screens if they want to, or if they feel safe and confident enough, they can go out to the theaters. And so this is Disney trying to kind of figure out the best and safest and most profitable way to release some of their properties. They're also doing something interesting with Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, as well as Ryan Reynolds' upcoming movie called Free Guy. They're giving theaters a 45-day window, and then after that, the movies will be available through Disney Plus and other streaming services, I'm sure, out there for rentals. And eventually those movies will all hit the sort of mainline Disney Plus subscription streaming service, and you'll also be able to purchase them on physical media and stuff if you want to do it that way as well. But this is an indication that even though things are definitely improving with vaccines and people are, at this stage, there are lots of people out there that are fully vaccinated, and there's the CDC recently said that you can take masks off indoors. So we're taking some tremendous strides towards seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. We're not there yet. And so big corporations like Disney have to play it safe and have to make sure that people can see these movies and see these properties anyway that they feel comfortable. So it makes a lot of sense. But we still have a ways to go before the movies are all completely open and we have long runs in theaters and long lines at theaters. But you can almost feel like it's coming, right? It feels like it's coming. All right, something else is happening in the movie world, which I know is going to make my daughter extremely happy. Millie Bobby Brown has been killing it in all kinds of cool properties like Stranger Things, but Enola Holmes was a massive success for Netflix, and she's returning for the sequel. She's also bringing Henry Cavill along with her. Now, the whole idea behind this property, which my family loved, by the way, we watched the first Enola Holmes movie. My daughter's seen it about 3 or 4 times. She absolutely adores it. Millie Bobby Brown plays Sherlock Holmes' sister, and Sherlock Holmes is played by Henry Cavill, and they both do a phenomenal job in the original film. And the first movie was all about the pursuit and trying to find their mom who has disappeared, and there's a whole mystery that sort of permeates throughout the movie. And you see that Enola Holmes is just as much of a detective as Sherlock Holmes is. The movie was put together by veterans of the excellent show called Fleabag, and there's just a really snappy, comedic kind of edge all the way through it. Really well put together, and I'm really hoping that the sequel is able to even elevate on that, because of course Millie Bobby Brown is just becoming more and more of a juggernaut. She's a producer on this Enola Holmes franchise, and it's based on a series of books written by Nancy Springer, and it's an interesting way into this whole detective mystery kind of genre out there. When I was a kid, I used to love reading stories like Encyclopedia Brown, and I read some old Sherlock Holmes books, and then later on some Raymond Chandler and some James Bond stories and stuff, and all of that kind of just opened my mind to that. I used to read the Hardy Boys. So it's really cool that in this day and age we get to kind of re-examine the whole mythology of Sherlock Holmes, and a lot of younger people do, through this new sister character. So I can't wait for the sequel to Enola Holmes, and my fingers are crossed that it's even better than the first movie. All right, let's talk about the new Star Wars TV show that's airing every Friday on Disney Plus. Episode 3 of The Bad Batch did not disappoint. It's only 27 minutes long, but holy crap, is there a lot of cool plot to dive into in this episode, including a deeper dive into this idea of the integration of human conscripts and the established clone troopers, which creates a great deal of tension for the Kaminoans, who have been able to profit from building these clone troopers for so long, but they're watching as the Empire is kind of shifting to this idea of recruiting and training people that are incredibly loyal. And so in this episode, we actually get to see a mission where a clone trooper, Crosshair, is integrated with some human, I guess they're early stormtroopers or human troopers. They have to go on a really dark mission, and I don't want to spoil too much, but it's really fascinating to see this clone trooper that still has this inhibitor chip that is going to follow orders to the letter up against these humans that feel like there's some gray area in some of the decisions that they had to make. And I thought that was incredibly fascinating. And of course, the rest of the Bad Batch, Hunter and Wrecker and Tech and Echo, are all missing Crosshair. They're all thinking about him, and they've got this new child along with them, this really cool character named Omega, who has been introduced in this series, and she's also an augmented clone with sort of latent abilities, but a really wonderful, empathetic sense about how people are feeling and thinking about some pretty complicated issues in here. She's kind of holding her own against this squad of elite warriors. It's a nice kind of counterbalance. There's some unbelievable brutality in this episode, horrific brutality, and there's also this heartwarming kind of glow as these merciless warriors are kind of bringing Omega into their fold. It's Star Wars for everybody, and what I am just blown away by the production in this show, and it was also a part of the Clone Wars, I think, as well as part in Rebels as well, but I was a bigger fan of Clone Wars than the stuff that I've seen of Rebels. But this show is, when I look at pieces of it, it's like Ralph McQuarrie concept art come to life, It really is accessible Star Wars. If you're a Star Wars fan, I totally implore you to check this show out. And it's going to make you want to go dive deep into the Clone Wars stuff and then eventually watch all the Rebel stuff as well. But there is some incredible embellishment, and there's a lot of connecting dots and answering questions that, as Star Wars fans, have been walking around with for years and years in between the episodes. It's really connective tissue. And it's amazing that Dave Filoni has been able to take the baton from George Lucas and just start to flesh out this galaxy. And also, what I really admire about both the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch is they don't shy away from that wars part of Star Wars. They don't just gloss over it. The movies, I think, had some really key scenes, certainly, I think, best exemplified by the battle sequences in Rogue One, that show the horrors of war and show the ramifications of it. And we saw Order 66 sort of come to fruition in Star Wars 3. But I think this week-to-week kind of check-in, and also seeing how societies and civilizations across the galaxy deal with the horrors of war in an animated form, but it is still incredibly powerful, and it is very powerful in this episode, shockingly so. So it's wonderful. I'm not going to score it. I'm just going to sort of check in on these episodes as they roll out week to week, but the Bad Batch is kicking butt. It's really great, and you shouldn't be missing it. All right, just a couple quick things to tell you about. First of all, Sony is getting into the DualSense business in a big way. Earlier this week, they showed off a trailer for a red and black DualSense controller for the PlayStation 5 and a midnight black controller, and both of these things look so damn sleek. I wish that Sony had timed out the release of these controllers with the launch of the PlayStation 5, because I definitely would have purchased one of these. I have two white ones. I bought an extra white one, but man, these things are absolutely beautiful. I am a huge fan of the DualSense controller. Let me know if you're planning on picking up one of these colors. I know it's still really hard to get a PlayStation 5 out there, but yeah, very sleek. Still, they've got a long way to go before they catch up with all of the variations of the Xbox controller that Microsoft has put out there, plus the ability to create your own. I would love it if Sony did something like that. That would be incredible. And I also got a chance to check out this quick trailer for Manifold Garden, which is launching right now, as a matter of fact. It's a very cool Escher-inspired puzzle game with beautiful graphics and some beautiful atmospheric music as well. This looks like a totally trippy, cool, mentally stimulating experience. I can't wait to check this game out. It's called Manifold Garden. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for the rundown today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again on Monday with a fresh episode for you. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button and that little bell for those notifications. Thank you to all of our longtime subscribers and, of course, to our EPN members. We'll see you on Monday, and until then, play forever.